Disney Plus started the streaming wars by trying to compete with Netflix, but now it's on its deathbed. Subscribers have been leaving the service, shows aren't getting watched, and the fans are becoming tired of the narrow focus on Star Wars and Marvel shows. Plus, Disney had a rough 2023 with several high-profile flops. It seems like people are getting tired of the MCU. So, are Disney's days numbered? Well, I've been working in and researching the film industry for the past 3 years, so that in this video I can break down what's happening to Disney Plus, why Disney is in trouble, and why the House of Mouse might be on the verge of crumbling down. The world was a different place in 2019. Disney was on top of the world, having just put out Endgame, a climactic finale to the highest grossing film franchise of all time, making $2.8 billion at the box office just by itself. Later that year, Disney released Disney Plus, becoming the first major studio to take on Netflix, who had built a multi-billion-dollar empire exclusively through online distribution of film and television shows. Disney Plus launched very successfully, gaining 26 million subscribers by 2020, and they would continue to grow. But they weren't the only ones entering the streaming race. Warner Brothers launched HBO Max, and the newly formed NBC Universal released Peacock, both online streaming services that joined an increasingly crowded marketplace. In order to acquire subscribers and capture market share, Disney priced their plan at $6.99 compared to Netflix's $12.99. Combined with the massive amount of money required to create premium original programming, this made the service extremely unprofitable. Disney made a gamble with their streaming service that there were enough fans of Marvel, Star Wars, and all the other brands under the Disney umbrella to sustain and grow the service, but this simply wasn't the case. Fans soon became fatigued of the endless recycling of their favorite stories, and in 2022, Disney Plus peaked with 164 million paid subscribers. Throughout this entire period, Disney has failed to turn a profit with Disney Plus. In fact, none of the studios that have gotten into streaming have been able to turn a profit, leaving Netflix as the undisputed global king of online movie and television distribution. But Disney Plus isn't the only thing causing worries for Disney. 2023 was a disaster for Disney's box office. The Marvels became the biggest flop in MCU history, making only 187 million globally in its theatrical run, with a budget of 220 million plus, and most likely another 100 million in marketing. The MCU, which has made more money than any other franchise in history, is starting to fall apart as people begin to feel fatigue from the constant litany of superhero movies and TV shows. And Star Wars, Disney's other large franchise, is feeling like a shell of its former self after a theatrical run of movies that left many fans disappointed. The cherry on top to all of this is that the current leadership of Disney is facing a shareholder proxy vote over control of the company from activist investor Nelson Peltz. So, is Disney dying? I know I've made it out to be pretty bleak, and Disney's situation is dire, but it doesn't have to crumble if it makes some crucial changes. First, Disney needs to get its franchises under control. The core of its business strategy is to have large, strong brands that can support its parks divisions and allow it to sell merchandise. Marvel and Star Wars need to have clear content strategies that produce movies and television shows that people want to watch again. Next, Disney needs to develop new original franchises and original movies, and in this regard at least, they could be headed in the right direction. David Greenbaum led Searchlight Pictures while they produced Best Picture-winning movies like Nomadland, The Shape of Water, Birdman, and Slumdog Millionaire. They also put out Poor Things, which recently won Emma Stone her second Oscar. Well, David is now the head of Disney Live Action and 20th Century, so maybe Disney Studios will start to put out original movies instead of making endless remakes of their classic animated films. Well, at least that role has been filled. But who is going to take over once Bob Iger finally retires? He tried to leave the company in 2020, appointing Bob Chapek as the new CEO, but after a series of fumbles, Bob Iger quickly assumed control again in 2022. There's no clear successor, and in order for Disney to have a bright future, it needs a CEO who can be just as impactful as Bob Iger. But of course, in order to solve Disney's biggest problem, we have to go back to Disney Plus. At this point, it's futile to try and compete with Netflix. They have taken over the streaming industry and have a dominant global presence that will be hard to usurp. So should Disney just shut the service down? Well, maybe, since it's so unprofitable. but they've already poured so many resources into the service that they might as well get a return on it. And I think the only way that they can do that is by merging it with another service. As it stands, it doesn't make sense to pour even more money into the service in the hopes of growing the subscriber count, since churn is so high for these services and they'll need to make even more content to satisfy a larger audience. But who should they partner with? Well, I genuinely don't know. But maybe with whoever buys Paramount. Disney is a historic brand with instant worldwide recognition. It might be going through a rough patch right now with some shaky financials when it comes to the economics of streaming and the current theatrical market. But I think it's not too late for the company to change course. But what do you think? If you're a fan of Disney, are you an optimist for the future of the company? Will it be able to change course and plot a new direction for the future? Let me know in the comments. I'm obsessed with the business of Hollywood, and my next video will probably be about streaming services as a whole or about Paramount, since they're currently going through a difficult process trying to sell themselves right now. Let me know which one you would want to see more. If you're a fan of movies, you've probably seen Dune 2. And if you haven't, what are you waiting for? But could Dune 2 and its director, Denis Villeneuve, change Hollywood forever? To find out, you'll have to watch my last video, linked below. Alright, that's it for this one. I'll see you around. Peace.